Happy new moon in Virgo, everybody. Welcome to this video, this Let Love Rise video, live from my backyard. I got my co-pilot Jasper with me today as we are here to talk about the new moon in Virgo, also the end of Mercury retrograde. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. My name is Andrea Blythe, and here in the Let Love Rise community space, we are all about freeing ourselves from stories that no longer serve. Letting go of old outdated stories, releasing patterns, and my goodness, has this been a summer of releasing with all the retrogrades. We'll talk a little bit about that, but we do this by understanding the powers that are present in the universe and tapping into the power of our mindset. So if you would like to go on a deeper dive into your mindset, and if you're local here in the Boise area, I'm going to be offering some new classes starting on Wednesday, September 20th, over at the Salt Sanctuary, called the Midweek Mindset Reset. We'll be examining our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, and talking about how to take actions and really be an intentional co-creator of the life of your dreams. And I do this through the Infinite Possibilities, where I was trained with the wonderful Mike Dooley. So I'll be sharing a lot of that, and that'll be weekly at the Salt Sanctuary here in Boise. And if you are not local, these videos are for you to just give you a little bit of food for thought and inspiration in your daily realm. So let's talk about this new moon. Every time we have a new moon, it is when the sun and the moon are together in the night sky. From our perspective, we cannot see the moon because she is blinded by the overwhelming light of the sun. They are both right now what is called conjunct. That means they're next to each other at 22 degrees of Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. Virgo is also where Mercury has been doing its retrograde for the last 3 weeks. So one of the things I want to talk about is what has come up for you in the last 3 weeks. And Virgo really likes attention to detail. Virgo can be known to be a little perfectionistic. So when you think about the last 3 weeks and you think about what has gone well, but more importantly, because our better teachers are not the yay, life is great, everything is good in my life, but our teachers often are the really hard lessons, the things that go horrifically wrong, the miscommunications, the dropping the ball, the misorganization, the frustrations, all of that stuff. So specifically, because this new moon and this seed planting, this time of intention setting coincides with the end of Mercury retrograde, it's a really good idea to look at the last 3 weeks and look at the lessons of these couple of weeks and see where do you maybe want to make a shift, a pivot in the way that things are happening in your life. Perhaps it's organization. I know for me, that is something that is always front and center, is how can I be more efficient with my time? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, and some people are just so impressive with what they can do, and some people flounder the day away. What is it that you want? What is it that you need at this time of year? And what has this Mercury retrograde been teaching you? So perhaps it's about organization. Virgo is also rules over our bodies, our emotional body, our physical body. So perhaps it is health issues have come up. I know for myself, I got to have the experience of spending the last 3 weeks in some of the most beautiful places on earth. The beautiful, beautiful state of Alaska, Orcas Island, the San Juan Islands, right off the coast of Washington. And as much as I love to travel and had the best time and best experiences, and so much that I want to share here today coming from that experience, I also neglected my health in many ways. I pushed myself hard. I didn't sleep as much as I normally did. I did not stick to my normal exercise routine and my vitamin routine, and my body paid for it. When I came home, I got really sick. And luckily for myself, I was able to listen to my body and take care of my body and rest. And I'm on the mend, but you might hear a little bit of congestion, and that's where that comes from. But let's go back to the idea of this new moon, this time of planting seeds of intention. What is it that you want to create in your life? And what do you want to see grow over not just this lunation period, this phase, this lunar phase, but over the next 6 months of your life? What are the seeds that you want to plant? And I chose to film this in my garden, my beautifully wild, overgrown garden, because we're coming up on the harvest moon. The harvest moon this is the time of year where people are bringing in the fruits from the seeds that have been planted a long time ago. So I'm looking at an apple tree in my yard. I have this amazing plum tree out front. I've got tomatoes and sunflowers and grapes and all this goodness from the earth that's growing. And perhaps one of the intentions or the thoughts or the changes that you want to make has to do with being a steward of this beautiful green earth that we live upon. As I said, I spent the last couple of weeks traveling, having the good fortune and the foresight to know that it was time to fulfill a serious bucket list item for myself, which was to go to Alaska. And not just go to Alaska, but I got to partake in the Spirit of the Sea seminar at sea with with the fabulous Molly McCord, who, when I say she has been one of my greatest teachers in understanding astrology, and she was on board and she taught some classes, but more than that, I got to meet her. So to meet one of your mentors and then to have that person be so personable and real and down to earth and knowledgeable and friendly and just very grounded and real, and to be able to have spontaneous conversations and have a cup of tea and talk about solar eclipses and the energies that are present, and also hear her teach about about Neptune and what's going on a much larger scale, and what will be coming this way, and the North Node and the South Node and all that goodness. I'm so elated that I saw a moment, an opportunity, and responded with a yes, even though I didn't know how I was going to afford this trip for myself in terms of time, in terms of finances. I knew I was being called to it, and the overarching takeaway is just this open surrender to the universe, to put fall trust, or trust fall, that's what it is, into the loving arms of the universe. Because not only was it the experience of having the opportunity to meet and chat with Molly, which was just above and beyond, and to be in this incredibly beautiful space, but the universe matched me up with a roommate, because I traveled solo. I just did this for myself, by myself. It was a gift for my 50th birthday that I gave to myself, and I was matched up with a roommate that just was a soul sister. I can't explain it any other way. It was somebody that I had just met, but feel like I had known for lifetimes, and have known for lifetimes. But it was a moment where I got to see feel what alignment felt like. Every morning, waking up with such deep gratitude for the places that we were seeing. Every day you open the window and you're in a new place, because it was a cruise. It was a cruise, this seminar at sea. And the scenery in Alaska, from the depths of the waters, where I got to see so many whales and dolphins playing and otters, and just the vastness. There was one day where I was just standing on the balcony and so many jellyfish that I saw from my balcony. So seeing the richness of the waters, to the majestic mountains, those just the pointed, jagged edges of the mountains, the waterfalls, the lush greenery everywhere, the dampness of the earth. It was drizzly but not rainy. We had blue skies, we had gray skies. It was just absolutely spectacular, and reminded me of what a magical universe, and when I say universe, I mean Earth. Really, what a magical planet we have been gifted, and we are stewards of this earth. And how are we taking care of this earth? So Virgo is an earth sign, and Virgo is also in the sun and the moon are in a trine with Uranus in Taurus, which is another earth sign. So they're at 22 degrees of Virgo, for those of you who are looking in your astrological charts. So these earth signs, and being in one of the most beautiful places I have ever been to on this earth, and seeing some of these just magnificent sights that I've never laid eyes on before, like glaciers. I'd never seen glaciers before. And then as we're looking at the glacier, to see a chunk of it fall off, and just be reminded of the heating up of the earth. And what are we doing? How are we caring for the earth? How are we protecting the biodiversity? And what are the small things that we can do? So maybe that is part of the intention, to bring it full circle back to new moon, is something that you want to do differently. And it doesn't have to be massive changes. It's just one small thing that we can do to help our planet. Perhaps it is purchasing food with less packaging. Everything from the produce that we purchase, a lot of it is prepackaged, versus en vrac. I'm seeing the French word. Just hand picking apples, or en vrac. What is the word? Just single, just not packaged. Bringing your own. Perhaps it's just buying reusable bags and remembering to bring those into the grocery store. Eliminating our carbon footprint, because when you go to Alaska, it is you're very aware of what a beautiful place that we have been given to care for, and what are we doing. How are we doing serving the planet, because it serves us so well. Back to this garden. Perhaps another thing that you could do is, if you have an abundance of fruit of one kind, there's only so many plums that myself and my children can eat. So I have a sign on my plum tree that just says, please take and eat. And I have bags hanging on my plum tree. Or perhaps I also have a friend who she has peaches. I don't have any peaches in my yard. I have plums. So we'll do an exchange. I'll bring her plums. She gives me peaches. Looking at the apples, my mom, hello Jasper, my co-pilot here. My mom did a great thing where she just picked a whole bunch of her apples, and ahead of time she sliced them up and diced them and got them ready for creating apple pies. So she made the mixes for the apple pies and packaged it all up and put them in her freezer. So when she is ready to make an apple pie, all the hard work has been done, the labor has been done. And I say, invite a friend over to pick and chop apples with you. Maybe you want to make applesauce or some kind of jam or compote. But looking at the harvest that we have at this time of year is when we are really seeing the abundance of the earth and what it provides us. Coming home and seeing the cucumbers on my vine and all the tomatoes, and just being so grateful that a seed, literally a seed that was planted months and months ago, is now giving back. It is now producing. So finding fun ways to reap in the harvest, or share in the harvest of another, and just giving gratitude for what this earth provides us, and then questioning what are things that we can do back for that earth. What else? Donating to an organization. I know for me, I had a strong call from the whales while I was in Alaska that I wanted to research more organizations and see how I can help with the oceans and the preservation of the whales, the orcas. There are very few, I believe it's the salmon eating orcas that remain. There are different types of killer whales, but just learning more and wanting to give back to a land that has given so much. So Earth. Earth is a big call right now. The other thing that you could do in Virgo is just really tuning into your body. As I said, Virgo rules over our bodies, our emotional and physical well-being. So, do you want to start a new exercise regime? Something that you love to do, not a have to, not a like I need to get to the gym at 5:30 in the morning and, burn so many calories, but instead maybe it is a morning walk with your dog. Or maybe it is a yoga routine or a dance class or something that fills you up and brings you joy and isn't a have to, but a want to, and I feel good afterwards. Perhaps it's starting a vitamin regime or getting back on a vitamin regime, which is supplements that fuel your body, and being really informed about the type of supplements you're taking and how you're taking them. Perhaps it's just eating a little bit more naturally, shopping on the outside of the supermarket. Again, a lot of it has to do with the packaging and the unprocessed foods that we find in the center of the market. But if we just really stick to the outside, the meats and the vegetables and taking the time, as we move into fall, it just invites us into the kitchen, does it not? Thanksgiving is in the fall season, and just, I can smell pumpkin spice and cinnamon and all of that just makes us want to cook. And so maybe it's just, even if it's one night a week, having a beautifully well-intentioned, thoughtful, good meal ready to go, food for the soul that you can perhaps morph into other meals throughout the week. These are just ideas of how we can use this new moon Virgo energy, this earth energy, and give thanks and appreciation, and also give back to what has been given to us. And of course, with every new moon, the question is limitless. Is there something that you want to create in your business, in your work life? Because Virgo is also about systems, and Mercury is about efficiency and communication. And are there ways that you can clean that up? Do you have an efficient filing system? Maybe you want to color code it because that brings you joy, and get a new calendar. Perhaps, we do a lot electronically, which is great, the alarms and the calendars that we have on our phones, but perhaps having some pen and paper and something hard where we can write things down would be beneficial. So just kind of playing with what's been working, what hasn't been working in the last couple of weeks. And how can you use those lessons to serve you better? Because as Mercury moves out of its retrograde the day after the new moon, so it'll be on Friday, September 15th, Venus moved out of retrograde earlier in the month on the 3rd. So these two personal planets are moving out of retrograde and moving forward, their energies forward. So this new reset, it's really this time of renewal and reset. And what are the lessons that you've learned, and how do you want to use those lessons to fuel you forward, to create a more badass, authentic, courageously authentic version of yourself? Who and how do you want to show up for yourself, for others that you are in relation with? And this new moon is right there with you saying, let's do this. Let's plant these seeds. Let's think about what we want. Let's think about the lessons that we have learned, and this holding pattern perhaps that you have felt that you have been a part of, or that you have been experiencing, where it's like, I want this, I'm ready for it, I'm going for it. And it's been a pause, it's been a wait that's about to shift. So will you be ready to receive? Will you be open and ready to receive? One of the big themes aboard the ship for my roommate and I that we discussed a lot was this concept of being open and willing to receive, whether it's receiving help because perhaps you've injured your foot, or your arms, a part of your body isn't working and you need to call in help. Maybe just mentally and emotionally something has rocked your world, something has been removed, something painful has happened, and you just need help. It is okay. It is okay to ask for help, and it is so important to learn how to receive, because we live in this abundant universe that wants to bless you, but it can only bless you if you're willing to receive. So these are some of the thoughts to think about. Just let me check my notes to see if there's anything else that I had written down. Details, efficiency. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Virgo is also co-ruled by Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, and there's going to be a lot on Chiron, especially for those of us who are in this fabulous year of 50, couple years of, I'm not sure how wide the range is, but if you have Chiron in your astrological chart in the sign of Aries around 18, 19 degrees, there is going to be some powerful energy put into this wounded healer in Aries, which is your sense of self, with some eclipses that are going to be taking place mostly next year in 6 months time from now. But thinking about who, again, you are, how you want to show up. It is just so important to constantly come back to the self, to check in. And every time we have this feeling, this hard lesson, to go within and ask yourself, what is in this for me to learn? Finally, I would be mistaken if I did not mention Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. That is the Soul Growth Book Club pick for this month. We'll be meeting in my home on Sunday the 17th to discuss this book. Whether you are local and can meet with us in my home this week to talk about this book or not, I cannot recommend it enough. Matthew McConaughey did this really created this really lovely book about the stories of his life for the first 50 years. He wrote it at age 50, produced it, it came out during the pandemic, and had a very powerful way of looking at his stories. He is a storyteller, and extracting the lessons, taking that higher perspective, and always asking, what is this teaching me? What am I meant to learn from this? And that is a powerful way to live our life. And that is what I'm trying to create with the community here, is help people tune into their own stories and see what's working, see where patterns are being repeated that maybe aren't feeling so good and you're ready to release, and how to release them. So my email will be in the comments below, or in the section below this. So if you want to reach out, if you'd like more information on your astrological birth chart and sit down for a reading, if you would like to hear about your cards of destiny, which is something that I will be talking more and more about as I complete my training over the next 10 months, my official training. I'm so excited. I've been reading the cards of destiny for a number of years now, but now I'm making it official. I'm learning from the master, from Robert Lee Camp. So I'd be happy to go over your cards and what the energies that you brought in with you as you came into this lifetime here on earth, and how to use that, how to channel that to co-create the life of your dreams. That's what we're doing here. So much good things coming up. I wish you a beautiful new moon in Virgo. plant the seeds, dream big as a redwood. Speaking of the redwoods, that is where the next video will be coming to you from the magnificent redwood forest of Northern California. That full moon in Aries is on Friday, September 29th. So look for the next video here from Let Love Rise from the redwoods. So from my garden to the redwoods, just appreciating this beautiful earth, asking yourselves, what is it that Venus retrograde, what is it that Mercury retrograde have been illuminating and teaching you, and how can you use those lessons to really create and refine, rewrite the story of your life, the story of your dreams, because you are worth it. You deserve every little dream that is in your heart. It is there because it is uniquely yours. So dream big this new moon. Plant those seeds of intention. And thank you for listening. If you're new here, I would love for you to introduce yourself in the comments below. Reach out. I am here to help you in whichever way I can. Thank you for listening. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.